Superheroes are often symbols of hope, justice, and adventure, but sometimes comics take a darker turn. Moments that don't just shock, but terrify. From grotesque body horror to cosmic-scale nightmares, these are the top 10 horror-level comic twists that left readers shaken. 10. Red Skull grafts Xavier's brain. Uncanny Avengers #1, 2012. In the immediate aftermath of Avengers vs. X-Men and Xavier's death, Red Skull has his S-Men exhume Xavier's corpse and surgically splice portions of Xavier's brain into his own cortex. The procedure, shown on page, is performed in a clandestine lab with crude instruments and Nazi-era surgical aesthetics, a literal desecration designed to weaponize Xavier's gift. With the graft complete, Skull gains a mega-level telepathy. He can project commands to crowds, rewrite memories, and invade minds at will. He immediately uses this power to incite anti-mutant riots in Manhattan, turning ordinary citizens into a hate mob and broadcasting psychic fear to escalate violence. He targets key Avengers, including the Unity Squad's mutants, for manipulation, aiming to erase the dream of peaceful coexistence by using the mentor who embodied it. The horror isn't only the gore of the graft, it's the grotesque perversion of Xavier's legacy into a mind control engine for fascism. 9. Joker carves off his own face. Detective Comics #1, 2011, New 52. In the New 52 relaunch, Joker willingly seeks out the dollmaker to slice away his own face, demanding the surgery as a way of shedding his humanity. The act is shown in fragments, leaving his severed visage grotesquely nailed to the GCPD wall as a calling card. Months later, Joker retrieves the rotting flesh and straps it back onto his skull with leather belts and hooks, turning his decayed skin into a macabre mask. This ghastly self-mutilation redefined him from theatrical trickster into a living slasher icon, a figure of rot and madness. Every confrontation became a grisly spectacle, Joker grinning through a sagging, stitched-on face that horrified Gotham's citizens and readers alike. It pushed DC's horror boundaries further than ever before, proving Joker was willing to mutilate even himself to spread fear. 8. The Demon Bear. Saga. New Mutants, number 18 to 20, 1984. Bill Sienkiewicz's art transformed this X-Men spin-off into a surreal nightmare. The Demon Bear stalks Danny Moonstar from her dreams into reality, mauling her nearly to death, and dragging the New Mutants into a warped shadow dimension. There, familiar landscapes twist into monstrous shapes, and the bear itself looms as a titanic force of claws, fangs, and darkness. The surreal, expressionistic panels, distorted anatomy, fractured reality, and grotesque transformations made readers feel trapped in a fever dream. For a superhero book, it was shockingly unsettling, blending supernatural menace with psychological terror. The saga redefined what horror in Marvel could look like, leaving readers shaken and the New Mutants forever scarred. 7. Carnage's Killing Spree, Maximum Carnage, 1993. Cletus Kasady, bonded with the Carnage symbiote, unleashes one of Marvel's most infamous killing sprees across New York. The pages are filled with chaos and gore as Kasady, joined by Shriek, Doppelganger, Carrion, and Demogoblin, butchers innocents in the streets with sadistic delight. Unlike Venom, who at times abides by a twisted code, Carnage revels in slaughter for its own sake, leaving Spider-Man and his allies overwhelmed. The storyline reads like a city-wide slasher film, civilians running in terror, allies torn apart, and blood staining the gutters. It pushed Spider-Man's world into pure horror, reminding readers that symbiotes are not just alien suits, but vehicles for serial killer nightmares amplified to superhuman levels. 6. Joker kills Jason Todd. Batman, A Death in the Family, 1988. One of the most infamous Batman stories ever told, this tale played out like a true crime horror. Joker lures Jason Todd into a warehouse and savagely bludgeons him with a crowbar, each swing shown in brutal panels as Jason cries out in pain. Bloodied and broken, Jason is left crawling on the floor before Joker leaves him tied up with his mother, setting explosives to finish the job. The horror intensifies when readers remember DC ran a phone poll to decide Jason's fate, and fans voted for death. The resulting imagery of Batman cradling Jason's battered corpse amid the rubble is one of the most chilling and tragic scenes in comics, forever redefining how cruel Joker could be and how vulnerable sidekicks truly were. 5. Joker's Dinner Party. Batman, number 17, 2013, Death of the Family. In Snyder and Capullo's Death of the Family finale, Joker kidnaps the Bat family and stages a grotesque feast. The Bat family awaken bound and seated around a long table in caverns beneath Gotham, with Joker waiting as their host. On silver platters, he serves them what appear to be their own severed faces, carefully plated and arranged. For pages, the horror lingers, the heroes gagging and reeling at the sight, unsure if their skin has truly been removed. Though it is ultimately revealed as a sadistic trick, the psychological damage is done, forcing Gotham's greatest heroes to stare at the possibility of their own mutilation. The sequence blended grotesque visuals with Joker's theatrical cruelty, cementing it as one of the most disturbing and unforgettable Joker moments ever put to page. The horror cemented this as one of the most grotesque and psychologically disturbing Joker moments ever. 4. Craven buries Spider-Man alive. Craven's Last Hunt, 1987. Craven finally defeats Spider-Man, not with a death blow, but by shooting him with a tranquilizer dart, binding him and sealing him inside a coffin. He then buries Peter 6 feet underground, leaving him to suffocate in darkness. For 2 agonizing weeks, Spider-Man lies trapped, clawing at the lid in sheer desperation as his oxygen runs thin. Meanwhile, Craven prowls the city in Peter's costume, brutally dispatching criminals to prove himself the superior Spider-Man. The imagery of Peter's bloodied hands scraping at the coffin wood and his gasping breath as soil rains down over him is claustrophobic horror at its peak. The sequence remains one of the darkest, most psychologically terrifying moments in Spidey's history, showing both Craven's madness and Peter's will to survive. 3. The Killing Joke. Batman, The Killing Joke, 1988. Alan Moore and Brian Bolland took Batman and Joker to their darkest depths in this infamous one-shot. Joker ambushes Barbara Gordon at her home, shooting her point-blank through the spine and leaving her paralyzed. He then strips and photographs her, weaponizing the images as part of a sadistic plan to psychologically torture her father, Commissioner Gordon. Meanwhile, Gordon is dragged through a nightmare carnival of freaks and humiliation, forced to endure Joker's thesis that one bad day can drive any man insane. The artwork lingers on every cruel beat, making the reader complicit in the horror. The story blurred the line between superhero comic and psychological horror, leaving readers horrified by its realism, its moral ambiguity, and the lasting consequences it carved into DC continuity. 2. Dark Phoenix Destroys a Planet. Uncanny X-Men, number 135, 1980. Jean Grey, corrupted by the Phoenix Force, consumes the energy of a nearby star to feed her insatiable hunger. The act casually obliterates the planet Debari. extinguishing billions of lives in an instant. The panels show the world's inhabitants vaporized without warning. A genocide carried out almost as an afterthought by one of Marvel's most beloved heroes. The horror lies not only in the scale of the destruction, but in Jean's detachment, a beloved figure of hope transformed into a cosmic predator. This was cosmic horror at its most chilling. Limitless power without conscience, where a single careless decision erases an entire civilization and reminds readers that the universe's greatest threat can come from its greatest savior. 1. Black Lantern's Rise. Blackest Night, number 1, 2009. DC's ultimate horror epic begins with the desecration of death itself. Graves split open across the world as fallen heroes and villains claw their way back to the surface, reanimated as monstrous black lanterns. Aquaman bursts from the ocean's depths. Martian Manhunter stalks his old allies, and Elongated Man twists into a mockery of his former self. The imagery is graphic and unsettling. Corpses with glowing rings, mouths dripping with hunger, ripping out the still-beating hearts of the living to fuel their power. The terror spreads quickly as entire cities are overrun, transforming the DC universe into a cosmic zombie apocalypse. Beloved icons are reduced to cannibalistic nightmares, forcing surviving heroes to battle not just strangers, but their friends, lovers, and mentors. It was a horror spectacle on an unimaginable scale, proving no other storyline has ever merged superheroes and pure horror with such relentless dread. From mutilated villains to zombie apocalypses, these stories prove that comics can horrify just as much as they can inspire. Which horror twist shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into the darkest corners of superhero history.